What up, draft nerds? Welcome in. Today we are taking a look at Dane Brugler's Mock Draft 1.0. Dane Brugler of The Athletic, your favorite draft analyst. Dane Brugler, one of the best in the business, one of my very favorite follows in this draft landscape. So we're going to dive into his Mock Draft 1.0 for 2025. Just kind of take a look at what's going on here. I have not looked at this at all, so I'm really excited to dive in to what Dane Brugler's thoughts are. And he does these predictively, right? So Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward to go in top 3 in polarizing class is the headline. Let's get into it. So the Jaguars at 1 take Travis Hunter, wide receiver / cornerback out of Colorado. We've talked about Travis Hunter a lot on this channel. I've talked a lot about Travis Hunter on Duval Daily on my Gen Jag channel where I cover the Jaguars as well. So if you've been following at all, you know I think Travis Hunter is the best player in this class, whether you're talking about wide receiver or cornerback, a singular talent, a unique talent. And so this one makes a lot of sense to me. I don't really have any notes. He has the Raiders taking Cam Ward. And let's take a look at what Brugler has to say here. It might be tough for owner Mark Davis to pass on the Sanders name, but Ward speaks the Raiders language with his ability to create explosive plays. Although his loose play style will sometimes lead to head-scratching moments, Ward has shown clear progress in his decision-making and placement, and his calm demeanor will help smooth his transition to the NFL action. Yeah, this is an interesting one to me. We've talked about Ward. We've talked about Sanders. For me, either of these quarterbacks and any quarterback needs to go to an environment that will breed success. Right now, I don't know that the Raiders have that environment. Right now, I don't know that the Giants have that environment either. And so it's really interesting looking at 2 and 3, how these two franchises, organizations figure out what they need to do to create a winning environment and build a foundation, build an infrastructure around a quarterback that can lead to success. And we've got the New York Giants taking Sanders here at 3. Brugler writes, in one of the more polarizing draft classes we've seen, Sanders is arguably the most polarizing prospect. Some NFL teams have him rated as an adequate NFL starter, while others are more optimistic. I don't know how the Giants feel, but I do believe Brian Daboll can get the most out of Sanders in the NFL. So yeah, this is assuming Daboll would still be in New York. And if he is still in New York, which I do think that he probably deserves a shot, even though he did have his say in the Daniel Jones situation, I think. I think Brian Daboll is a good offensive coach who could get the most out of Shedeur Sanders. So I'm not in a big disagreement there. Then Will Campbell going to the Patriots at number 4. I have talked about Will Campbell probably being a fit with the Patriots for a long time. I thought last year Drake May was somehow going to find his way to New England. He did. I think Will Campbell is a fit as well. I struggle with his mirroring ability on the outside, playing against these super hyper athletes at edge. So I do project him as a guard at the next level. So taking a guard at 4 overall over some other positions that could really help you out, to me, is this going to go down as a bad pick? No, because I think Will Campbell, if you play him at guard, is going to be a stud. But is it going to be the most impactful player you could draft at this point? Maybe not. But I do love building up the offensive line, building up the trenches. You can't really argue with that. At 5, the Carolina Panthers get Abdul Carter, one of the candidates I would have had for the Patriots there. So Abdul Carter, to me, the development that he has shown week after week after week after week in Big Ten play, moving from linebacker to basically full-time edge and being able to line up, over the A-gap, stood up, he's an incredible athlete, incredible rusher. He's probably going to be a blue chip prospect for me. Now at number 6, Jalen Walker comes off the board to the New York Jets. And I know that Dane Brugler is higher on Walker than I am, so let's see what he has to say. There's a ton of unknown for the Jets organization as it turns the page of the 2025 offseason. Time will tell how the new general manager and head coach will view the current roster. Edge rusher and linebacker might both be needs this offseason, though. With his athleticism at 6'2" and 245, Walker can play either position at a high level. See, I don't necessarily see that right now. I think he's an athlete that really doesn't play either with a ton of nuance, either spots. So to me, that's rich. At 7, the Tennessee Titans take Mykel Williams. I'm a little bit lower on Williams than this. I do have him in the teens, so that's not a big shock. And he has those crazy physical traits, right? The athleticism, the length, and strength. So I can totally see that. Those Georgia guys, they come different. And, Could he take the Trayvon Walker development arc? I don't think they're one-to-one comparisons, but they do have some similarities coming out of Georgia. And Trayvon Walker has certainly become a very good player for the Jaguars. Um, Cleveland Browns taking Mason Graham out of Michigan at 8. I think this is such a steal. Such a steal for the Cleveland Browns. What a pick this would be. Pair him up with Myles Garrett. Yeah. I think that Mason Graham is one of those blue chip guys that should go a lot higher than 8 overall. Same thing can be said about Cincinnati's Will Johnson, in my opinion. The cornerback prototype type, size, length, athleticism. He reads the game well. I think he can play man. I think he can play zone. I think he will be a quick study and just a steal for the Bengals, a team that really needs a corner, right? They need a lot on the defensive side of the ball. It looks like right now things have not been going well over there, but getting Will Johnson at 9, I think, is a steal. New Orleans Saints getting Tedero McMillan, T-Mac. We've seen this type of fit before with them. I've seen this in other mock drafts. I think I might have mocked this as well. Big-bodied receiver to go with the guys you do have that are more speedsters. So that does make sense. They do need help a little bit across the trenches on both sides of the ball potentially, but I do think T-Mac is a good value at 10 overall there. Chicago Bears taking Kelvin Banks. Banks is an interesting one for me. I've talked to y'all about struggling with him. I think there's some balance issues, and that really scares me a bit, but I do like him in pass pro a lot. And is he a guard? Is he a tackle? Does he have like the real mirroring ability and length to reach his ceiling on the outside versus compared to guard? I don't know. The Bears do need to upgrade their offensive line, so I think Kelvin Banks can help do that. Is he the pick I would make here? No, certainly not. Miami Dolphins landed Malachi Starks out of Georgia at 12. Another just unbelievable steal, in my opinion. Javon Holland, he is perhaps likely to test free agency. And Malachi Starks, to me, a blue chip prospect, can play safety, can play nickel. I think he could play corner for you. But really, just as a versatile defensive back that has the ability to play in the box, has the ability to play deep third, single high free safety, split zone, again, nickel, even outside corner in a pinch if you need him. I think that Starks is going to be a game changer at the NFL level. That good of a player. Dallas Cowboys landing Luther Burden at 13. This is the range I have for Luther Burden, but there's some guys on the board. It's an interesting pick. So yeah, let's read this one. He says, the cries for Ashton Jeanty here will be loud, and it wouldn't be surprising ultimately if he is Dallas's pick, but the Cowboys also need more explosive options in the passing game, and their in-season trade for Jonathan Mingo won't prevent them from going receiver in round 1. Despite a mediocre 2024 campaign, Burden is strong at the catch point and his best creating with the ball. Yeah, I love Luther Burden. I think Missouri has really underutilized him and not given him all the tools he needs to succeed. I think that you want to see more of a route tree at the NFL level, but there's nothing on tape that suggests to me he can't run more of a route tree. He has great hands. He's incredibly explosive. He's densely built. He's got length. I think Luther Burden's a fantastic player. Taking him over Jeanty, I do think wide receiver is a more valuable position, helping out your quarterback there. It's an interesting proposition, certainly. 49ers landing Derek Harmon, DT out of Oregon. This one for me is a slight reach. I think there's some defensive tackles that would be more exciting for San Francisco's defense personally. Walter Nolan, Tyleik Williams, certainly. But I do like Derek Harmon. I think that he has the ability to play the run and get after the quarterback as an interior penetrator, so that would be an interesting fit. Colts taking Siobhan Ravel out of East Carolina, who's coming off the ACL. He's got, Chris Ballard, length, athleticism, all that stuff. I could definitely see it. It'll be interesting to see how this cornerback class shakes up because there's going to be some risers. And I think that Siobhan Ravel is one of these freak athletes, but I think there's going to be some other freak athletes with length as well that could potentially tempt the Colts, and the Colts absolutely need a corner in the worst way. At 16, Shamar Stewart to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, he's a freak show out of Texas A&M, 290, great length, can set the edge at an extremely high level, has all sorts of potential as a pass rusher as well. So the Buccaneers, that makes sense for me. Los Angeles Rams taking Ariante Ursary is a little early for me. It is. I think that there's some better options on the board, but they definitely need to shore up offensive tackle moving forward. And here's what Brugler has to say. The Rams will need to look at their offensive tackle options this offseason, including in the draft. Ursary does not have first-round consistency on tape. I agree, but it isn't easy to find 335-pounders with movement skills and length. Yeah, see, his movement skills to me are more with his explosiveness in a straight line. I don't think he's got great flexibility or bend. That worries me a little bit in terms of him being a first-round type of impact at tackle. Arizona Cardinals getting Walter Nolan at 18. I think this is a great pick for them. With his explosiveness and physical hands, Nolan is a force through interior gaps. That'd be a welcome sight in Arizona. Fun fact, the Cardinals last drafted an Ole Miss prospect in the first round almost a decade ago, and it was another defensive tackle. Okay. I don't think we need to talk about Robert Nkemdiche compared to Walter Nolan. Walter Nolan, a absolute beast 3-tech who I think is going to wreak havoc on interior offensive lines and make life very difficult for quarterbacks and running backs at the next level. So I like that pick a lot for them. Atlanta Falcons, James Pierce Jr. This is becoming a common pick. I do not understand why James Pierce is falling. This is a guy who has all the ability to be a perennial double-digit sack player, who is among the league leaders in pressures, who also has the ability, in my opinion, with his length, to be a better run defender than given credit for in a 3-4 type of scheme outside linebacker, and be a disruptor against the run, somebody who can create splash plays, negative splash plays against the run in the backfield. So yeah, I think the Falcons have desperately needed a edge for a long time, and that's a good pick for them. Josh Connerly all the way up at 20 is something here for me. That is wow. And Brugler doesn't really talk about Connerly, but Connerly has the athleticism, the length, the physical traits you're looking for. Oh, okay, here he says, left tackle for the Ducks, Connerly has impressive feet and balance, a bright future ahead of him. I agree. I think it's a little early because his hands need a lot of work. His functional strength needs a lot of work. I don't know if he's someone you can start in year one and feel comfortable with. I see a lot of development needed with Connerly, but I do see the traits. And then Genty going to the Commanders. I've seen this before as well. At 21, that would be beastly, you know. Genty with Jaden Daniels and obviously Scary Terry up there in that offense. That'd be a lot of fun. Hopefully Cliff Kingsbury would still be calling plays. That'd be fireworks. Houston Texans getting Tyler Booker, the guard out of Alabama. Yeah, this is a good pick for them in my opinion because they need interior offensive line help. I think Booker has a huge ceiling. He's very physical. I think that he would bring a lot of presence, shall we say, to the Texans at 22. Maybe just a tad bit early, but no problem with it at all. Denver Broncos landing Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State. I have seen, and you know, there are some parallels in the way that Sean Payton used Taysom Hill and the way that Penn State uses Tyler Warren. Now, Tyler Warren is 6'6", 260 pounds. Taysom Hill is much smaller human being, but Tyler Warren's an absolute beast, and he has the true potential to be like a balanced tight end who can block his butt off for you, who can run routes at a high level. He's explosive. He's got length. He's got great hands, great catch point skills. You can give him the ball in a variety of ways on screens, in the backfield, fullback, whatever it may be. I mean, he's got such versatility, and basically Penn State's offense this year, him and Nick Singleton. So I would love that pick for the Broncos. At 24, Baltimore Ravens. Personally, I have Tyler Warren rated a lot higher than that. Getting Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan. Yeah, this is a Ravens pick for sure. I think Kenneth Grant is more of a nose tackle than he is a 3-tech or anything like that at his size, but I think he has the potential to be a dominant nose tackle and a nose tackle who actually creates push as well and creates disruption in the backfield out of Michigan. So that'd be a lot of fun. Los Angeles Chargers getting Caleb Johnson, the running back out of Iowa. I do not have a first round grade on Caleb Johnson, but the Chargers have got to get better at running back. I think J.K. Dobbins is fantastic, but he is off injured. He's injured right now. Caleb Johnson has incredibly sweet feet, reliable hands. I think he's going to be good in pass pro. I think he's going to be a 3-down back that has great vision, patience, and again, his feet, they're the best in the class in terms of his ability to not waste any movements as a runner. And his vision and patience combined with his power, he can run through you. He's a big boy. Maybe not the most explosive runner, but I could see that really working out for the Chargers in Jim Harbaugh's offense. Pittsburgh Steelers, Maxwell Harrison, cornerback, Kentucky. Yeah, to me, he does have a little bit of a Pittsburgh Steeler mindset. He's got that aggressiveness, that fieriness, maybe not certainly the size and length of a Joey Porter Jr., but I'm a big fan of Harrison coming out of Kentucky. I think that he has that Steeler mindset, that aura, if you will. 27, Green Bay Packers, Landon Jackson, edge, Arkansas. Yeah, Landon Jackson, not the most consistent dude in the world, but 6'6", 270 pounds. The crazy thing about him at that size is his flexibility. He's got great bend at that size. And so continue to develop him, and I think that could be a great fit. Oh, and I love this. Marcus Mbo sneaking into the first round. I've got to read what Brugler has to say. I have not a first round grade on Mbo, but I've only got like 12 or 13 first round grades. He's in the teens for me on my board. Okay. Brugler says, as a prospect, I expect to be a riser throughout the draft process. Mbo has impressive foot quickness and movement skills for his size, and his overall skill level continues to improve with each game. He might be able to stay at tackle in the NFL, but he also projects well on the interior, which is where the Vikings could use him. Yeah, dude. Marcus Mbo, he's played right guard and right tackle. He is so aggressive with his hands. It actually gets him into trouble sometimes, but it also leads to some of the most dominant reps you will see from anyone in this class, with snatch traps, with independent hand usage, with just trying to jump set and quick fire on guys. Sometimes he misses, so you need to kind of rein it in at times. But his athleticism and that growth with his hands, it's been something to watch this year at Purdue. So I'd be fired up for the Vikings about that one. 29, Philadelphia Eagles, Cameron Williams, offensive tackle, Texas. Yeah, I keep seeing every time somebody talks about Cameron Williams, the Marius Mims thing. To me, Mims was a much better prospect. Now, Mims also has injury issues, right? So that's something to consider. But Cameron Williams to the Eagles, I actually love that fit because I think he does have a lot of physical talent and upside and athleticism for his size. He's over 330 pounds. And getting him coached up by Jeff Stoutland, yeah, that absolutely makes a ton of sense. Buffalo Bills going Mike Green, the edge out of Marshall. A lot of people are fired up about his tape. Dane Brugler says the Bills could look at wide receiver Emeka Egbuka or secondary help here, but Von Miller's future in Buffalo is unsettled, and it's never a bad plan to invest in more pass rushers. Green is a tad smaller than what general manager Brandon Beane would normally target at this position, but he's a violent edge setter who uses explosiveness to put heat on the quarterback. Yeah, I mean, he can spin. He's super explosive off the ball. He's bendy. He's got length. That would be a fun pick. That would be a really fun pick. And yeah, it does not match up with the prototype that the Bills have gone for at edge, but yeah, I think he could be a nice change up to what they have. 31, Kansas City Chiefs taking Alfred Collins, defensive tackle out of Texas. I do not have a first round grade on Collins. I think that there's some better picks that could be made here, but I do think he's got tremendous length and a great run defender right now. So let's see what he has to say. Texas had a pair of defensive tackles selected in the top 40 last year, and they might have another one in 2025. Campbell, 6'6", 319 with 34 3/4 inch arms. I did not know the official arm length. That is crazy on the interior. Has an imposing body type and has impressed scouts this season with his ability to create disruption against both run and pass. Yeah, I think the pass rush is inconsistent right now, but as a run defender who can stack and shed, keep guys off of his chest, and dictate the terms of the play, I love that. And then at 32, the Detroit Lions getting Jihad Campbell. Campbell's somebody we've started talking about a little bit on the channel out of Alabama. Plays linebacker, rushes off the edge a little bit, blitzes a lot. This would be a pick that would be a lot of fun. It would bring athleticism, physicality, versatility to the Detroit Lions defense. He's got a crazy ceiling, bottom line. Jihad Campbell does out of Detroit. So this was a really fun mock draft by Dane Brugler. I absolutely love the work he puts in. And again, he does these predictively. Obviously, at this point, doing a predictive mock draft, it's going to end up, a lot's going to change. Draft slots are going to change. There's going to be different things that happen with these prospects, all that good stuff. But Dane Brugler, fantastic job. Great read. Let me know what y'all think about this mock draft in the comment section below. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. Have a good one.